Hello everybody, this is Niu in Xinjiang bringing you a brand new live stream. And we are on our special reporting trip, China Horizons, and I have been doing this really interesting and fun and fascinating story hunting live streams throughout the entire journey. Previously, we were in the International Grand Bazaar looking for elements of folktale stories originated here in Xinjiang. And later, yesterday, we went to Turpan and discovered some local tale stories and folktale stories as well. And today I am already in a different location. If you take a look at the style of the architecture as well as the decoration, for those of you who have been here already, you might have already recognized this is the Kashgar ancient city. 我们今天来到了喀什古城. Usually, people start their live streams in the beginning of the entrance, in the entrance area or the gate area. But today, since we have our special mission, since we are on a local Xinjiang folktale hunting journey, I chose to start right here in the home, the mansion of the Master Ba Yi. 我们现在在八一老爷的家。The home of Master Ba Yi. Here in Xinjiang, Master Ba Yi or Ba Yi Lao is kind of like a general term. It's not the name of anybody. It's more like addressing those who are rich, who has a lot of land, a lot of belongings, and who are usually greedy, and usually the wealth are collected throughout the generation instead of generated because this Master Ba Yi is smart enough or is a good merchant. So it's not technically a really good term. Yet, if we take a look at the house, at the mansion of Master Ba Yi, it is not hard to come to the conclusion that he's living in a quite fancy and luxurious condition in ancient times. Again, in ancient times, for people living in or regular people, average folks, it's really hard to gain a living. We need to work really, really hard to put the bread on the table. Yet, for these landlords, for these so-called Master Ba Yi, for them, their life or their lifestyle is quite extravagant considering the situation at that time. So let's take a little tour. We can already see that on the second floor, there are many bedrooms and many living rooms, and even underground, there are different locations for different use. Let's take a little tour here. Some decorations here on the wall. Wooden plate used to decorate the house, because here in the ancient city of Kashgar, most of the architectures are brick and mortar. They are using a little bit, well, they have the structure inside, but with little straw and mud, they would get the wall into a relatively smooth condition. And this one is not ancient, just so you know. And in the mansion of Master Ba Yi, I don't think they're living here. I think these are for the people working for him. But already you see a lot of objects, everyday use or household objects. This is the kitchen. It's quite a smart design, because using this as a kitchen, we also have a window for the cook or the smoke to flow out. Get out. Moving on, we see a cabinet storing the belongings of Master Ba Yi. And again, not something that is originated from the ancient times. And here, this would be the household items showcasing local Xinjiang characteristics or even Kashgar characteristics. Kashgar is located in the farthest west of China. It is even closer to Europe, to many places in Europe. I did a little research, and it is a fact that Kashgar is the same distance to Beijing as to Moscow, same distance to China's Taipei, to Athens, and flying to Shanghai takes approximately similar time if you're also flying, or if you're considering flying to Cairo. So it is definitely a place that is in the convergent location, allowing cultures and habits from the west side of the world and the east side of the world to converge, to meet each other. And this would be a bedroom of Master Bai Yi. Ooh, traditional music instrument. I don't know about you, but in my opinion, though, the mansion of Master Bai Yi is quite luxurious and extravagant at his time, my feeling is that I would rather stay in a, nice hotel instead of here. So I guess no matter how rich you are, you're still the product of your time, and the development of the society and the country makes the biggest difference. Let's see if any of you have tuned in. If you have just tuned in, we are doing a live stream here in the city, ancient city of Kashgar, and we are on our special story hunting journey as well for this live stream. We would like to see what are some interesting tales and folktale stories here in Xinjiang, because in this season of Chinese folktales, we feature a lot of Chinese folktale stories that are originated in Xinjiang. And one of the stories talks about the Master Bai Yi. The funny thing is, these folktale stories, because they are for common or regular or average people, it carries our lovely wishes. We think about our lives and we have some certain complaints, or they had complaints, and they would decided to put their lovely wishes into the stories they create, or they find the hero character in the tale, and they also have a villain character. Usually, the Master Bai Yi would be the villain character. He was greedy. He was not kind to people around him, and he was not very smart as well. Which is why Afanti, the main character in the story, would always find a way to trick him. For example, here we know that the house of Master Bai Yi, the mansion, is quite extravagant with a lot of rooms, and he's living his great life. But he also is still quite so greedy, and he wanted too much more, which is why it is easy to trick him. Afanti would trick him into believing that he can sow some gold and have the gold grow and ripe and harvest more gold. And when he actually believes this, they would, or Afanti would go dig the seed gold out and share the gold with people in the village, with poor people. So helping poor people, tricking the bad and also not very smart, at the same time greedy landlord is kind of a theme in the stories of Afanti. And if you've enjoyed that story, you can also tune in to the latest season of our Chinese folktale story podcast, Chinese folktale stories. But here in Kashgar, I've already noticed a lot of other fun stories that are spreading mouth to mouth word among people living here. Right now, we are already stepping into the streets of the Kashgar ancient city, or Kashgar Gucheng. This is a 1,000-year-old living ancient city. If you think about other ancient cities, the Jingjue ancient city and Lowlan ancient cities, those ancient cities are no longer living, in the sense that no real residents are still living in the cities, and the outlook of it, the authentic style of it, is no longer there. And that is the reason, or that is how valuable this one is, because Kashgar, the ancient city of Kashgar, still holds tens of thousands of local residents. There are different areas here. For this area, it is quite obvious that it's quite commercialized, and we see a lot of shops. You can buy local souvenirs and you can learn about local culture in different ways. Yet there is also another district. In another district, we can find residents living in the other side. There are two districts. One is the West District and the West District is more, we are here in the East District, the relatively even more commercialized district. And the commercialization allow local people, local residents to engage in tourism industry. They would be able to, for example, start a homestay, decorate their house a little bit, and allow people to stay in, share their cultures. They can also be craftsmen making souvenirs and selling them to tourists. For instance, if we see these kind of stalls right next to the streets, we can go inside and check out what are some lovely souvenirs that we can get here in the Kashgar ancient city. 你好，我们想看一看。This is very pretty. 这个多少钱？ How much is it? 20. Oh, see, with 20 yuan, you can get one of these lovely little purse. And here's a donkey. Remember, we talked about Avanti and his donkey. They are a pair. I think this is a pinkish one or salmonish one. His donkey is blue, if I recall it correctly, but donkey. When I was doing a little bit story hunting, I talked to local people, and they did already told me one lovely story. It is about lovely, or I think in ancient times there was also a moon city, 月光城, a moon city. If you have seen some pictures of Kashgar, because I think it's hard to demonstrate with our live streams. In the live streams, you see the road is quite wide, allowing tourists to enjoy their stay. Yet, if we go to relatively less populated area or less commercialized areas, you see that the alley is quite thin, and the entire Kashgar ancient town or ancient city is more like a maze. It's hard for you to remember all the routes unless you're born and raised here. And so in that story, one other background information is that Kashgar also has a lot of landscape, but relatively speaking, it's still quite hot and very dry, which is why water resource is quite important. And in the folktale story I was told earlier, this lady, instead of having a hero trying to save the city, we have a young lady trying to save the city. Because in her dream, the god of, or the immortal being of the Kashgar city told her that if you do not find new water resources in the next 7 days, the entire city would dry out, losing every possibility of surviving. So she was very eager, and she tried to find different ways to find the resource. And there she got the way. That is to start kind of like a treasure hunting experience, solving different myths and different riddles in different corners of the city, and also being blocked by the bad or the landlords in the city, but also solving the problems because of her witty and her smart responses. And afterwards, finally, she got into a place, and the place requires a pure heart and also benevolence, and making sure that she is asking for the sake of other people instead of herself. So selfless, to be able to solve the puzzle of a locking the gate of the source of the water. And she was able to provide all that virtue, all that characteristics. And finally, she found the water sources, and she saved the entire city. So that was the story of a young girl saving the Kashgar city. And within that, there was also this very special plot. That is, at the 6th day, which is already really close to deadline, she was able to find, she lost her way because the Kashgar ancient city is really like a maze, and it's really hard to navigate and find everything. But her pure heart moved the goddess of the moon, and the moon pierced through the clouds and gave her a little light to guide her the way. And that is how she got to find out the hidden treasure that is the water source. So that was the story I just got when I arrived here and talked to local people. Quite an interesting way to demonstrate, and my feeling after listening to the story, I think it's a really good one. To start with, it has a lot of plots, and also the main character is a lady, a little different than the traditional hero saves the day and saves the princess kind of story. Right now we are looking at some comments here. We see many of you already tuning in. Rick is saying, hello, Nyo, good to see you back in Kashgar. Yes, I was here in 2020. Back in 2020, I think it's not as advanced and there was not as many tourists. But here coming back, well, it was a very enjoyable experience already, but coming back is even better. And, excuse me. Just tuned in for the story hunting, Antonio. Thank you, Antonio. I hope you enjoyed the story hunting as much as I do. Good evening from Olinda. It's evening time for you, right? So if you are watching this and you want to share your location as well as your time zone, you're very welcome to do so. Here we are in the very west side of the country, which means naturally we do have a time difference. And the time difference means that here in Kashgar, the sunset would be much later. But since here in China, we do not separate different regions with their time zones, so that it's easier to communicate, it's easier to cooperate with people from different parts of the country. We do not have different time zone concept. But in real senses, actually, they do. Well, people in Kashgar do live in a different time zone. Antonio saying the presentation is wonderful. Feels like I am there with you. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for your lovely comment. And Rick is enjoying the tale. Yes, I think it's a lovely tale. And in order to commemorate the goddess of the moon, they started to call it the Moonlight City, 月光之城, Moonlight City. Very lovely. You see the surrounding areas with a lot of here in Xinjiang, we love pomegranate, 石榴, pomegranate, a lot of different seeds, and people usually say, I think Xinjiang people told me this phrase, that is, we are here living in Xinjiang and we are from different ethnic groups, but we are close to each other, as close as different pomegranate gathered together. So close, so tight, hugging and embracing the communication among different cultures and also the cooperation among different ethnic groups. One other, here in China we travel to different places. Here on China Horizons, we travel to different places and showcase local characteristics. And here in Xinjiang, my feeling is that I'm overwhelmed because in Urumqi, though we already enjoyed a lot of Xinjiang traditional style and also from different ethnic groups, it's here in Kashgar, I think it's even more rich and abundant. And here, introduction of Araya. See, when I'm in a story hunt, I find stories. So this is a story about the ancient city of Kashgar being suffered of a catastrophic flood, and occurs that when the water is about to flood into the city of Kashgar and destroy everything, a really long, let's say, cannon on the land actually starts to emerge and allowing the flood to flow in, making sure that people in Kashgar are saved. So that was the Ayana, and that's the origin story of Ayana. Oh, I am again in quite a different location. Here in the Kashgar ancient city, there are different bazaars. You already know bazaar means market. And here in Kashgar, they would separate their market or categorize their market with different themes. You would have, for example, food market, fruit market, and also land market, different types of markets. And here we are in an ironware market, 铁艺白炸 iron, and it is the largest one in Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. Let's take a look at what we can find here. You know what? When it comes to iron pot, there is also quite an interesting Xinjiang local folktale story. Legend has it that there was this monster harassing the village all the time. Every year, he would require a young lady as a sacrifice so that the monster would eat the lady and would stop harassing the entire village. And a young man thought it's not right. People cannot or should not be living like this. So he wanted to destroy the monster. He wanted to save the village, save all the young ladies from the village from this sad and quite harsh destiny. So he tried to find different ways, and he go to different places. He went to different places to trying to find out a better way or a way to destroy the monster. And he was told that a special kind of iron can destroy the monster. He had to go find the material, and he had to become a blacksmith himself and forge the equipment so that it can be used to destroy the monster. And after destroying the monster, he also sacrificed his life, but the technique of blacksmith left behind through generations to generations. And that's the origin story of blacksmith skills in Xinjiang. And now here in this 铁艺吧站, in this ironware bazaar, we get to see all types of ironware. Some are pot. Ooh, huge pot. Ooh, this is so heavy. Wow. This is really just so heavy. I should use both my hands, but this one is like so. Ooh, okay, this one's better. It's a pot, and if you look closer, you see different dots on the pot, and these dots showcases that they are purely handmade. You would use the equipment to smash on the iron again and again to forge it into the shape, and that explains those dots explain or are the evidence of the technique. Thank you so much for enjoying the tale, and we have Chattery saying hello from India. I'm glad you're enjoying the live stream, and we are kind of like tourists among all the other tourists taking a look at this special technique. Oh, that is super cool. Now here in Xinjiang, though the traditional skills still preserved, they are using relatively modern techniques as well, using electricity, using different types of technique to perfect their making or manufacturing. And that can also be demonstrated by the products, because traditionally these are the rather traditional pattern and the traditional wear, but at the same time we can see the rather modern ones. Relatively modern, fitting the taste of people from outside of Xinjiang and even overseas. And we can even see some houseware items or kitchen items that are quite popular and quite common to see in our homes as well. Oh, and this one for fried eggs. Quite so fun, excuse me. For those of you who have just tuned in, we are on a China Horizon special live stream, and we are doing this live stream with a special mission, that is story hunting. We are walking into different cities here in Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, Urumqi, Turpan, and here in Kashgar, looking for authentic stories from Xinjiang and beyond. If you've enjoyed these stories, you can also check out our latest podcast season of our podcast series, Chinese Folk Tales. Chinese Folk Tales, just find this keyword in any podcast platform that you enjoy. In the meantime, Xinjiang is, there is a Chinese saying, Xinjiang is a wonderful place. We say 新疆是个好地方. It is a wonderful place because it has a lot to offer. We've already mentioned that Kashgar is located at the far west of Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, and it is really close to Europe. It's also bordering Pamir, which means that this place is also bordering the Taklamakan Desert. And with this special location, it is one of the most important trading hubs along the Silk Road. When it's a trading hub, you see the exchange of goods. You also see the exchange of personnel and skills and culture and civilizations. So here, a lot of the local style, no matter it's costume, it's about decoration, maybe it can be even about the patterns on the scarf and on the clothes. It can carry a lot of different characteristics. We do see the kind of painting styles and food that is introduced to Kashgar or the entire Xinjiang from the rather center part of the country. Tang Dynasty, Han Dynasty, the introduction of these things happened, but at the same time you also see a lot of European style goods and European style skills. Now here in Kashgar, definitely it is a place very vibrant with tourism. Here, recently, there has been this new term in the tourism industry that is the time duration that one tourist would stay in one location. It has become a key factor because the logic is quite easy to understand. The longer you stay in one place, the higher possibility or opportunity that you might be spending here. And every tourist destination is trying to make the time for the tourists to stay longer and longer. And it is happening in Xinjiang as well. It is happening in the Kashgar ancient city as well. People make homestays here. When we were walking here, we met a lot of different homestays. Each and every one of them are quite pretty with local characteristics. And of course, the tourism photography is quite major in here as well. You can try out different outfits from different ethnic groups. The Uyghur ones, which is the major one, since here in Kashgar, 92% of the people are with the Uyghur ethnicity. But at the same time, there are people from other ethnic groups, so you can also pick ethnic group costumes from other ethnic groups as well. So a lot of experience improving and enhancing the overall experience of tourists. Let's see if you have anything you want to say to... we are welcoming more and more stories. In the meantime, I want to know, because this might already be the very last live stream of our show or of our Xinjiang tour, China Horizon tour here in the autonomous region. And I haven't asked you. I was on a story hunt for quite a long time, and I figured out and I found a lot of different stories already. But what about you? What are some fairy tale or folk tale or legend stories that you are you've been enjoying since your childhood years? You can let me know in the comment area. And Rick is saying, being a chef in a Chinese restaurant, I have found using iron cookware gives the dish a distinct flavor that I prefer. Yes, iron flavor is also something that's quite common to see here in China. I'm not really sure about you, but after listening to and knowing about the iron pot, destroy the monster, saving the entire village story, and also saving young ladies from becoming a sacrifice story, I like ironware even more. We see that here in Xinjiang, you can get very beautiful decorations and lovely earrings on the side of the street. And I was also told that since all of these places are opened by local people, most of them are the shop owners live right here, they can based on their taste, make a collection on their stall, and you can even have a bargain with them. So when you come to Xinjiang, if you see a beautiful dress with local characteristics you want to buy, if you see Xinjiang style carpet that you would very much enjoy and take home as decoration, you put it on the wall, make sure you also ask for a bargain. You can talk to them. They are usually very nice and hospitality. It's like any market or any bazaar. You can talk to them and ask for a better price. Here in Xinjiang, or in the ancient Kashgar ancient city, a lot of we talked about the preservation of the local architecture of the ancient, this is good, of the ancient city, of the old landscape or landmark areas. But at the same time, we also here tried really hard to improve the livelihood of local people, because many of the houses were very, very old, and those houses were generations after generations. The tradition here is that for local Uyghur people, when they have a newborn tradition or newborn generation, they would buy or start constructing one more floor. So their houses would go up one floor after another, getting higher and higher. And that means many of those architectures are not, or some, at least some, are not with the standards of the constructing regulations. They're not safe enough. They are not fireproof enough. And that is why back in 2008, local government started to use a policy to protect the ancient city in the way that they ask people living in the buildings to rebuild the places or to tear them down by themselves, but having them rebuilt or decorated or, let's say, renovated with local, with the construction standards. And also, they have some of the most interesting architectures. They have the most interesting architectures in some other structures as well. If we can take a look at this one. Here is a model of this building right behind us, and that is one of the biggest building or biggest wooden structure building here in Xinjiang. So this is the model, and this is the model of this wooden architecture. You can see that there are 7 floors. I've already talked about after the newborn generation, one new floor of the house would be constructed. And this one is based on that concept, but not exactly with that purpose. And here, we are standing right here, and we can go up all the way to the highest place here in the Kashgar ancient town. And remember when I say that Master Bayi is not a name, but more of a way to generalize the landlords who are rich and greedy, maybe not that smart. Here in this place, there's also a room for Master Bayi, and it's quite extravagant, but it's also just for the purpose of tourism photography. So here's the house. Let's continue to move. We see saying co-worker from Urumqi really like your Uyghur costume. Yes. It was quite a fun experience. I think I've said this so many times in our shows and live streams, that is, Chinese people, all the 56 ethnic groups here in China, we do not feel offended. We do not think of wearing of our local or traditional costume as cultural appropriation. We do not take it like that. We think it's a way to appreciate the culture and to celebrate the culture. So if you are at any location and you want to dress up like local people and take pictures or make a record, you would certainly be allowed and be welcomed, and they would appreciate your gesture as well. For those of you who have just tuned in to our live stream on China Horizons, we are doing a special Chinese folktale live stream where we go to different places in Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region and try to find some local stories, some folk tales that originated from the place and are spread among the crowds of people by the form of, for example, bedtime stories in the families. And after listening to all of these stories, my feeling is that when it comes to stories, especially those that are told to kids, we always try to convey a certain message or try to praise a certain virtue that we would hope our future generation can take and can appreciate and can pass down so that they can work harder, they can be nice and benevolent to the people, they can fight against the harsh and greedy landlord who's been suppressing people and help those poor people in the village. That's the story of Afanti, and that's also a lot of the key message of the stories in many other folk tales. And here in Kashgar, again, with the development of the society and the development of the country, these stories of a monster trying to take innocent lives, a greedy landlord who is taking money from regular people and charging them for maybe shades or charging them for the flowing of karaz or the water in the karaz is no longer happening. And here, most of the times, I see happy faces, I see tourists, and I see local people celebrating their culture in different ways. And that is always something that I would love to see along with all of my business trips. Let's see if you have any other comments. We have many of you saying hi. Thank you for saying hi. We are doing a special story hunting live stream here in the city of Kashgar. The ancient city of Kashgar is a 1,000-year-old living ancient city from almost 2,000 years ago when the city was built. People have been living here till this day. And now, of course, the architectures are renovated and the food as well as the technique is improved. Still, not really sure if you can see this, but allow me to demonstrate. Xiangfei is a princess, or yes, she is a princess who was married into the center part of the royal government in Qing dynasty. And though people believe that because people believe she was from here in Kashgar, so there was a tomb of the Xiangfei princess. And in that place, you can also tour a bit and even go to a special room, because xiang in Chinese means fragrance or really nice to smell. It smells good. So in that special room that you would be able to tour in, you can also smell the fragrance that has been lingering in for hundreds of years, and that is the story of the Xiangfei princess. Take a listen to that story a little bit later, or maybe we would feature that story in our next season of Chinese folk tales, who knows. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Last shout out to those of you who are watching the live stream. You're saying, yes, I agree. It is a cultural appreciation that encouraged me to learn Chinese and Tai Chi. And thank you so much for encouraging me to share your culture here in America heartland. Thank you for appreciating it. When we talk about Chinese culture, it is easy to think about the Han culture, the Mandarin, the Tai Chi, the Buddhism. Buddhism is also quite vibrant here, by the way. But it is also worth mentioning that we have 56 ethnic groups, and all of them have very splendid cultures. And here in Xinjiang, for example, we get to experience many of the cultures from different ethnic groups, and it's always a great pleasure showcasing all of those to you. Alongside the road, there are performances, and we are coming to the end of today's live stream. Maybe you can enjoy a little more of the shows, of the content in the future. Of course you can do that, and this would be we would still stay in Xinjiang for a while, and though we might not give you more live streams to appreciate, we do have other forms of content. Just make sure you stay with us if you've enjoyed the content, and make sure you listen to our latest podcast series, Chinese Folk Tales. I'm Niao Niao. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.